I am with my good friend, Dave Savage, the mortgage coach and chief growth officer with Trust Engine. We're here today in Park City, Utah, the meeting of many of the top mortgage professionals and leaders of the country being here, converging on this amazing snowy town, getting slightly hurt on the slopes, but we're not talking about that today. What we're talking about is growing trust and helping you as loan officers and marketing leaders, helping your team to grow in this market and to really take advantage of the technology that's out there that will help you grow in this new world that we're in. So Dave, I have a couple open-ended questions for you, and then I have a couple rapid-fire questions for you, all right?
I love it.
So let's go with open-ended, right? And these, I think, will be right in your wheelhouse. So the trust formula, right? Your trust engine. Everyone talks about trust, but if you actually build it really at scale, I think you've really mastered that very, very well. What's really the formula for turning cold leads into clients and making sure that you are building that trust and getting those people to believe and want to work with you?
Well, first and foremost, it always starts with empathy, and questions, and truly understanding what the consumer is looking to accomplish, understanding the problems that they need solved, and then to be able to communicate them in a way that's highly personalized, individualized on how they can not just achieve the transaction, but go beyond the transaction. Like when you are the loan officer that tells a family something that you didn't have to tell them, like the cost of that loan over 5 years, because they told you I want to be in the house for 5 years, like that builds trust. Most loan officers just show rate, payment, and cash to close. And when you can show an uncommon level of transparency that has obvious value, trust is created.
Uncommon level of transparency. And what the other thing I heard is really making sure that it is unique to them. If you're just spewing out what the rate is for everybody, it's not for them. And so they don't know if that's really their rate. So many consumers have been burned by bait and switches online and all these different types of things. A lot of people don't trust the mortgage process. And I think that what you're saying is break through that wall, have that empathy, and lead with individualized, personalized data.
Yeah.
The
only thing I want to play off of what you just said, you said people don't trust the mortgage process. Guys, distrust is the default in America, period. Like it's not just the mortgage industry, distrust is the default. And so the faster we can, sincerely want to know that person, sincerely understand how we're going to help them beyond the transaction. Like all salespeople show love and care about the transaction. You want to really be remarkable. You want to really create trust at scale, have that empathy, deliver value beyond the transaction in a way that's simple, easy to understand. Boom, you win at scale.
Dude, I love that. Speaking of scale and I think this is a great kind of tripping point to the next question is like, all right, so we're talking about once we have that lead or once we have that individual in our grips, showing the empathy and making sure that we understand their specific use case or what they're looking for with their family, with their growth plans, right? But attracting more people at scale. I think the top 1% and top 10% of lenders are choosing to do that on social media.
Correct.
And but I'm noticing a trend too. And it's like they're posting just generic content. Right. And it's not getting the engagement that they would expect to get. Yeah. So what's your advice for people, for loan officers and real estate agents and anybody really, to get more specific, more personalized with their advice online to really stand out?
Well, I mean, I think people are attracted to like individual stories. So generic content just doesn't create the same type of interest and trust as highly personalized, highly authentic content. I mean, it's just, think about it. Think about what you like. And then it also becomes a lot more valuable. Like when you are bringing your personality, your take based off who you are, based off of your geographic area, like when you can like be the mayor of not just, the digital mayor of your city, but like be the digital mayor of people that follow you around. And I would also push people to go beyond just mortgage. Like we are in the business. People don't get mortgages because they want loans. They get loans because they want homes. And the real American dream is home ownership with financial freedom. So if you can bring highly authentic, highly personalized, localized around your database, whoever follows you, that's the formula.
Yeah.
And the best are doing it.
It's like knowing your audience, right?
Yeah.
That's number one, is understanding who are your followers, right? Or who are your connections, who's your network online, and then making content that connects with them. about, and then what I think I love the most what you said is being just personal. People want to do business with a person, not with a giant corporation most times. I think showing that kind of more personable vibe about who you are and what you're doing really helps you stand out too, because it's uncommon.
Yeah.
And it's that uncommonness that helps you stick out.
And I do want to call out, Joe, I think this is one of the things why your company, Social Coach, has grown so much, is that lenders want to help their loan officers at scale in a way that's organized, in a way that's compliant. You've done a really good job of allowing, that framework at an enterprise level. But now, hey, let's help loan officers make great videos that are highly personalized and customized. Let's
and still compliant. That's the hard part, right?
and let's build best practices. Because let's face it, when you look at loan officers, and I'm not going to start naming all the names, but I mean, Denise Donahue, the mortgage nerd, is very well known for killing on social media for a long time. Jeremy Forcier really just started playing the social game hard in 2024. And look how far he's come.
He's
you
incredible.
do a great job of putting organization and structure around that. So I just want to call it out.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think that, and it works so well with being an advice-driven, led individual. It's a synergy that works, and I hate using that word, but I did anyway. It's synergistic relationship that works really well.
Big buzzword bingo, guys. You can put a little synergy.
Synergy, there you go.
And that way we can 10x.
Well, let's talk about a little bit, you brought up Jeremy and Denise. I think those are two, what I would consider like a one percenter, right? And you coach a lot of those 1% loan officers. I think everybody sees you as the mortgage coach, right? I mean, you built a company called Mortgage Coach, and you have one of the top followings on YouTube and on LinkedIn. People come to you for that advice, but not everyone takes it, right? And I think that's fine. I think that's the goal, is not to have everyone be the same, but the goal is to help and give as much as you can. But what's the one skill that you think the top 1% have that other people do not have, that's helping them really separate themselves from the rest of the pack and win on a consistent basis?
I would like to have more than one skill, but I'll take one. The one skill of the best in the rest is that the best are really ambitious. And when they hear of a better way of doing something, they know how to unlearn the way that they're currently doing it, learn a new way of doing it, and then relearning, unlearn, relearn, adaption. They adapt to new opportunities. And it's like, if there's only one, that is the superpower of the most successful people in this industry.
But I think it's also executing on those things, right? Because we can continue to learn and never really apply that into our business.
They have these best practice ways of delivering this high trust borrower experience, and then they're consistent. However they deliver an experience to a consumer, they do it in an exceptional way, consistently.
Is that consistent grind that really that really works? All right, last open-ended question, then we're going to the fire round. Okay,
boom, let's go. Fire round.
The hot topic, everyone's talking about this. You look at every conference now is talking about AI, right? And I think that the many technologists and companies, mortgage companies, are looking at, how can I streamline the mortgage process with AI? Now, let's say, Dave, in a future state, AI is taking over 90% of the mortgage process. What's left for loan officers to actually do? Where should LOs today future-proof their business against AI, or really work with it to help them succeed in the future? Because it's going to take over a lot of jobs of those who are not reinventing themselves and not educating themselves like you talked about.
So I interviewed Scott Brown, who is the chief innovation officer, I think, of Intel. He's a futurist. And he told me in 2017, everything that can be automated will be automated. And we're seeing that now. And we've seen AI accelerate that. And for anyone that has seen AI voice,
oh my gosh,
you can imagine that it's just a question of when we'll be talking to someone on the phone, and we will not be able to distinguish the difference between, is that man or machine? So how do you always have a seat at the table? And I'm going to list off a number of things, in my opinion. You don't necessarily need to have them all, but I know people that have them all. So first of all, if you've built a personal brand, like if you are, I'm Dave Savage in Newport Beach. There's only one Dave Savage in Newport Beach. And so if you have a brand and a following and a database, and you execute with great communication to that database, you're always going to have a seat at the table. Empathy, AI can't care. Like, it can't sincerely care about a family, a past client, a referral partner, and then just the overall design of an experience. As a human being, you have all these different technologies that come into play. You got Mortgage Coach, you have Trust Engine, you have Social Coach. AI can't go out and like, it doesn't design the experience. It can help you design an experience. It can help you execute on an experience, but you could be you can care, and then you can build an experience that is absolutely technology enabled. And I would just tell every executive, or at least what we believe at Trust Engine, is that loan officers need to be coaches. And the technology we build is how do we turn regular day loan officers into modern mortgage advisors that will always have a seat at the table.
That's right. I couldn't have said it better. I think it's how do you harness that technology to make yourself more successful. It's not going to replace everybody, but it will, the very low level stuff for sure. Yeah, there's a place for everybody. And I think, the interesting thing with AI and I guess where we're at today too, is it's great, it's amazing, but you still have to harness it in the right direction. Right. And I think that's where most companies, technologists, mortgage companies, et cetera, will have to really make themselves set them apart, is how do you harness it and use it in the right way. I think voice is pretty incredible. I just recently saw a demo of voice AI talking about like taking like a pre-application, and the guy on the other end of the phone literally had no idea at all. When I listened to it and I saw it, I didn't even notice. It's that good. So it's kind of like, hey, heads up, loan officers, you're going to have to up your game.
And make sure you learn how to talk to AI. Like I hear some people giving AI prompts, talking to AI, and I'm like, oh my God, look at the value that person's getting. And then even myself, I'm like doing a Google search, very simple. So learn how to talk to AI in a highly effective way. You'll be more successful.
Garbage in, garbage out. Right. And that's everything always. Right. So when you are using AI to help you think about things, you got to prompt it in the right way, and you still have to be creative. One thing that AI can't do for us is think. That's the huge blessing we have as humans, is those big old brains inside of our heads. You got to still use that somehow, right? All right, rapid fire. These are going to be 1 to 3 word answers, right? It's going to be tough. All right, Dave, most overrated social media platform for LOs.
I hate that one. I don't know, man. I'm going to pass on that. You tell me, what's the most overrated?
Most overrated. Honestly, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, I think it's LinkedIn. And I know we're on this today. I think it's great. From all the tens of thousands of posts that Social Coach does every month, and we have a lot of data on it. Very little is being done on LinkedIn that gets us the right kind of engagement. We're still seeing Facebook and Instagram being the most successful for loan officers today.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I thought of saying that, but I also think that it's not highly. There's not a lot of loan officers playing the LinkedIn game.
And so if you crack the code, it's good. But if you're going to go out there and put generic content and think it's going to convert, it's not going to happen. You're going to have more success than that on Instagram. All right, next question. The most underrated way to generate mortgage leads?
By far, database. I mean, not enough loan officers are monitoring their database for who's most likely to buy, sell, refinance, and not enough loan officers are prioritizing those calls and outreaches. And I would just say huge mistake.
That's Trust Engine. Right. I mean, you have data-led intelligence that helps you know who to connect with, and yet people still don't pick up those calls. Take them. All right. Next question. Biggest mistake LOs make on video?
Not doing it.
That's true.
By far the biggest mistake, droning on, not starting with, get right to it, like blah, 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 blah. And like, okay, what's this about? So, and then I am surprised because I do think there's a lot more great video content being created now, but I can't believe how often they miss the close, and just call me if you need something. There's not this strategic call to action that's simple and measurable. And so, upgrade your call to action.
That's money right there. All right, next question. If you could only make one type of social content forever, what would it be?
Interviews on YouTube for me are the most valuable thing I do on social. And if I could only do one thing, that'd be it.
That's it. I love that. All right, last question. One thing LOs should stop doing immediately.
Making excuses. Stop playing the interest rate economy and start playing the activity economy. The most successful loan officers have the most conversations and they have the best conversations. So quantity and quality, but get after it. Let's go.
All right. Thing to do then, get Social Coach to help you get more conversations, get Mortgage Coach Trust Engine to make those conversations better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, guys, until next time.
Hope you got value. It's my first LinkedIn Live. I love it.
There you go. We'll see more of you in the future on LinkedIn Live.
Take care.
See you guys.